Hey everybody, it's LaDonna Marie, internationally multi-award winning author, speaker, and personal development life coach of LaDonna Marie Books, where my mission is to discover the champion in you through healing and changing the narrative in your life, one book at a time. You can shop and find out more information at www.ladonnamarie.org and check out the shop page. Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspirational Talks with your host, LaDonna Marie. I'm so happy that you join me every Monday at 6:30 Central and 7:30 Eastern here on the podcast. You know, we've been having great and amazing special guests, and tonight, without further ado, I want to bring in my guest. You all, I'm excited about it. I met her on a seminar that we did together. It was an event, and she had so much great information, and I enjoyed listening to her. So, hey, she wanted to come to Inspirational Talks to talk to all of you all out there across the world. And so I want to read you all a little bit of her bio so that you can get to know her as I do. And so her name is Tami Curry. And for the past 3 to 4 years, she has proudly served as an inner healing advocate. Her own journey of healing through a marital divorce inspired her to become an advocate and to help other women who are dealing with or considering divorce. On this journey, she felt that she wasn't doing enough and had much more to offer. Many times when we are healing from heartbreaks and when we may not feel our best some days, everyone is different in their process. That ultimately led her to the beauty industry, where she curates beauty products within humanized brand to remind them of their beauty and the importance of confidence. And so you all, without further ado, I want to introduce you to Tami. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I love the welcome, Pastor LaDonna. I love it, love it, love it. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. It's Inspirational Talks by Planting Positive Seeds.
So it's Inspirational Talks by LaDonna Marie, but it's a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. So I do always say that in the beginning because my nonprofit, it's a part of the nonprofit to plant positive seeds in the lives of others daily. That's what we do here. But you all coming to share your stories, and also to the guests that's listening, that get, what you all feed into them from your stories.
I love that.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And yes, actually, I do have a beauty brand. It's called Imagery Brand. My name is Tami Curry, and I'm the curator of the brand. I have 4 beautiful children, very talented, very funny, 2 boys and 2 girls. And we're originally from Baton Rouge, but we live in Houston. This has been our home for about over 8 years now, a little over 8 years now. And so basically, absolutely, yeah, in terms of the bio, I guess my divorce has led me up to entrepreneurship. So I'm divorced twice. I'm not divorced once. And so it was the most recent divorce that kind of had me looking internally, as opposed to it's your fault. So I'm just kind of on that journey. And so when I discuss like beauty, or say beauty in terms of what I do and what my goal and what my passion is to remind people that, hey, you're not going to show up 100% of the time, all the time. It's okay, right? And so my goal is to remind that and remind people to give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace.
Yes.
We're so on the go all the time with our daily routines. that we forget to stop, and say, you know what, I did a great job. I did good today. Let me give myself some grace. I'm not going to beat myself up today. Or like for me, if I need a break, if I'm like, you know what, I need a nap, I'm going to just sleep this one off. I want to take a nap. And so just to show up your authentic self, there's liberation and it's freedom and it's power in that. And so that is what my goal, and I do it by way of Image Dream brand for that very reason, to kind of break those barriers in the beauty industry, those standards that that they had that don't work. Mm-hmm. Obviously,
yeah,
because everybody has their different definition of what beauty is. And so what I'm seeing just on social media and things like that is just pretty much everybody's just starting to kind of look the same and act the same. And right. So I just want to, just remind people, hey, it's okay to show up me. I find myself to be corny, and I show up corny, whatever I'm feeling 100% of the time or whatever, And so that's the beauty of it. That's my goal, And so sometimes you're going to have to go a little deep within in order to get to that, because it took me some time as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight, and I'm still working on it, And so right. That's a nutshell.
Listen, I thank you for, going into that. You took the first question just out of my mind. You shared more about your life and your journey. And I love that you talked about the grace. I usually say that to like people that I'm talking to, and I actually told that to some of my students in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, because I was saying I had to learn how to give myself grace, over the years, because, I used to always want to, get things done and know how it was going to be done and just work to perfection, knowing that it wasn't always going to be that way. But I had to learn how to give myself grace. And so I'm so glad that on your journey, through everything that you have encountered and everything that you've been through and overcame, that you've learned to give yourself, grace with that. And I love how you said about showing up authentic. You know what I'm saying? I've always been on this journey of being my most authentic self. And so I'm glad that, you're saying that so that the listeners out there can know, what's it all about, like not showing up like someone else. I rarely like to look like anyone else. I'm an individual that loves my own authenticity. I love to, be like I want to be. So I don't like, looking and sounding like everyone else. I have to stay to what God has given me to do. And so that's great, and as we put that into our own brands, offline, we were talking about our brands and different things like that. And so you have to be who you've been created to be, to share and to show up, with your brand the way that you have. And my last point from just all those juicy nuggets in the beginning that you was giving us is that I see that you found purpose in the pain. I shared with you, a little bit about Discover the Champion in You, but normally for everyone who listens to this show, they know that I'm a 26-year survivor of attempted suicide. So the whole Discover the Champion in You is the brand where I had to discover who God created me to be. And so when I learned who He had created me to be, I no longer wanted to give up. I wanted to move forward. I wanted to continue to pull other people up. So I've been on a journey to plant these seeds in people's lives to let them know you're not by yourself. And I love how you take in your brand and to help people look for that inner beauty. It is about, making sure that you look good and you show up and you feel good. Yeah. But you took that, that inner beauty, because sometimes we don't feel like that. And sometimes we have those moments. And when we go through divorces, I've been divorced. When you go through things like that, those are moments and patches in your life when you have to find yourself again. And so I like that you said that, I heard you found your purpose in the pain and all the what you had to overcome.
Yes,
that's good.
It was kind of like, so I'm in my career, right? This was prior to me being an entrepreneur, and I'm in my career, I'm making money, I'm good, I'm traveling with the people, my numbers are great, I'm knocking down every goal the corporate can set for me, I'm training people, so I'm up here, right, in my mind.
Yes.
Right? So this is me as a married person. And of course, along the way, it's kind of like, God was like, hold on, I got, I want you to feel great about yourself, but I want you to, there's a purpose that I want you to kind of come to, right? Like,
yes.
Aha moment. But before we get to aha moment, before, it's like, I see you. I have a lot in store for you. But in order to get to what I have for you, we're going to go through some personal development classes, okay?
Come on.
So, personal development classes, you know how when you're in college and you have to take those developmental classes, the 098 and 099?
Yeah, the ones before the class.
before you get to the actual class. So that was nutshell. And it's like, man, it was so many nights I can remember, Pastor LaDonna, where it was like, you speak about your survival and being, having that background or that want, to take your life, But God said He had a for you, right?
Yes, He did.
So, I get that. And to just lean all the way in with you, that was me during that Life 98 and Life 99 developmental classes. The classes you credit for, but you still got to pay for.
Right.
Some of that. So, and, a lot of times, it left me with me being in my closet, just trying to figure out, okay, how did I get here? There's different levels of emotions, you the anger, the pride and the all of that. And, you won't come to terms to what it is unless you're silent and you're being still. So it took me just a little while to just be still so I can just kind of figure out what happened and ultimately accountability for my part as well. And that's another thing in terms of beauty, in terms of liberation, in terms of just being your true authentic self. I'm all for, listen, if I've wronged someone, LaDonna, hey, I apologize. I'm sorry I wronged you. Right. So to me, there's liberation in that as well. And so, that ended up me reaching out and, after all of that and essentially apologizing to my ex-husband, because he wasn't able to kind of see my part in it until I was, God had me kind of like still in a quiet space in life. Pretty much felt like pretty much out here by myself. And everybody processes information differently. And so with me, it takes solitude. I need solitude to process properly.
Yeah, you sound like me. I be telling my kids I can't write with noise. And that's the reason, even when they were little, for these 13 books that I've written, I was always at nighttime when everything was quiet because I can't have all the outside noise when I'm trying to hear, from the inside. But I like what you said, because usually I say that about my boys too. Even if I feel like, I may have had a long day, but I'm a little snappy. If I felt like I've wronged them, I'm big enough to say, I'm sorry, it didn't come out right. And I've said that to a couple people, and they was like, my mom never apologized to me. And I was like, we're different. It's a different age. And I know that I'm raising kids that will raise my grandkids. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that we set that example. But I love how you said just being true to who you are and knowing who you are authentically, and that personal development, because a lot of that I had to do. I got journals and things where I had to sit in my emotions, reflect on them. And it's all about that inner healing. We talked about resiliency a little bit before the show. And that's a lot that went into like my inner healing and different things that I had gone through. I want to ask you, Tami, about, so what inspires you to do what you do?
What inspires me to do what I do is the ability and the want to serve my purpose. Like, I want to leave a legacy. What I don't want to happen is I'm here and I've lived this life, made no impact, didn't do any work, just kind of lived, spend money, pay bills, whatever. So what inspired me to do what I do is I'm hoping that it inspires others to speak their truth as well. And just whatever the purpose is, whatever your purpose is in life. And sometimes we won't know that until later on, depending on the circumstances and depend on our experiences and where we at that moment. But when you do realize what it is, to lean into it and push past that fear, like, oh, no one's gonna support me. No one's gonna support me. They're gonna make fun of me. I don't really like that. It makes me uncomfortable just thinking about it. So we gotta push past those things that we tell ourselves in our mind, because that's not true. It's not true. And so a lot of times what we're thinking and what our thoughts and what our feelings and our emotions are is from previous experiences. And to not really take that as something that is solid for you to not, achieve those goals, and just try to get the strategy and figure out how to push past those thoughts and those emotions that you're feeling, because they're not real. And when it does happen, it's just a lot of beauty that's created in that process. And so what inspires me is just inspiring others, like, pay it forward. And that's what I plan and intend on doing. And so me here at Inspirational Talks, that's also one way. And so that's just kind of what I've been doing, just kind of making my rounds, researching different brands and seeing how I could lean in with you guys as well, and just kind of engage. And, they say you stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right. That's right. Well, I love the fact of, all the things that inspire you, because, impacting lives is one thing that we want to do on this earth. You want your life to have meaning. You want your brands, your business, the legacy of what you do to have meaning. So that's big. Pushing past, I say that in my Rebuilding Fragments book, that's one of my workbooks, is actually one of the steps. It's like to push past, the things that you have, because I wrote down on the paper, feelings are not facts. And so I love how you were saying that those emotions are not true, because they can keep us stuck in a place where if we just push to the other side of that, everything will be great. Everything will be amazing. And so, I want to say, give you, just kudos for stepping out and continue to push forward with your dreams, with your brand, with impacting the lives of women, helping them, sharing your story as you're doing here today. Because there are people I know, Tami, that are listening on the other side saying, I've been divorced and I've been sitting in this. This is, how can I feel better about myself? And she's, built a business, built a brand, and she's taking where she's been, but moving forward with it. So I thank you for just inspiring the listening audience with that. It's just great to always hear. And so it's so great to hear. I wanted to just take a moment and pause and go to a commercial so that we can come right back to hear the rest of your amazing story. So we'll be right back, everyone.
Absolutely. Introducing our signature hair care line. Our hydrating hair mist / leave-in conditioner is an all-in-one product that serves as a detangler / heat protectant, and it also preserves color. With the eucalyptus and spearmint, it delivers a refreshing, tingling sensation while preventing dandruff. Next up is our Super Growth Black Castor Coconut Oil. It's infused with 18 different herbs, including curry leaves and white turmeric, okay, for longer, healthier, and thicker hair. Hang on, I want you guys to see what this looks like. Here they are. So this bigger bottle here, it's what's in the smaller bottle that I was just using, okay? Do you see all those herbs? So there's 18 different herbs. Last but certainly not least, okay, our edge control gel with castor and wheat oil keeps those edges in check all day long, 24 hours to be exact. I love when my edges get all thick and bushy, and if you know, you know. So let's lay these edges real quick. And in the words of Tabitha Brown, guess what? I can use as much as I want because that's my business. So let's lay these edges real quick.
Look at that, how I just swoop. Up, not even moving. That's 24-hour hold, y'all. Try them all for a transformational and healthy hair experience. Visit us online at www.imageDream.com or purchase from walmart.com for free shipping and 30-day money-back guarantee.
Back everyone to Inspirational Talks with Adana Marie. I am here with Miss Tami today, and we're talking about her story and her brand. And so, Tami, we left off talking about what inspired you, but now I want you to tell the listening audience all about some of your highlights and your achievements, and things that accomplishments that you encounter along this journey of yours.
Now when you say journey, how far back you want to go?
Listen, this is the podcast that you're the special guest. So however far you would like to share with us, we're listening. We're listening.
Oh, my achievements. I guess I'll keep it more most recent. We can go with Black Women Made Whole.
Yay.
My big highlight was to speak and have a speaking engagement, do a presentation, and I was able to do that. It's like, even though I was having some technical issues, I was very comfortable. Like when I wrote it back, I was listening to myself and I was very comfortable, with the process. So that is one of my biggest achievements and highlights of this year. And it's something that I set out to do. And, now that I've started doing it, I don't want to stop. I just want to continue to grow in that area, continue to connect with like-minded people, continue to grow my tribe. Well, first create a tribe.
Right.
On this journey, it gets lonely. It gets very quiet out here. And, because, you have your friends from back home and everybody's, we're all doing our separate things and everybody's not going to be able to come with you. And so sometimes it gets a little lonely on this road of this journey that we're in. And so for me, and that's really hard. Like within itself, that's really hard because about growth and personal development and shifts and all these things. Like, who am I going to call and pick up the phone to and say, hey girl, I'm struggling? Not very many people. And so, that's just kind of like what my journey is to connect with others. And so that's what I've been doing. And so I believe that is what my greatest highlight and achievement is going to be. Also, my products you can purchase on walmart.com. We're also walmart.com Canada. And so I did that within 5 months of opening the brand. And so that is also a great that I would like to put out there as well. So those are the most recent ones. And really just, like I say, just walking the walk and talking the talk. You know? And what that looks like for me, that's considered an achievement for me. And what that looks like for me is really verbalizing and vocalizing, days when I am not feeling up to par or up, to my feeling like myself. And so a lot of times we have to verbalize how we feel and the things that's going on internally, because again, there's life and death in the power of the tongue, or I'm not sure exactly how to go, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that's it.
But verbalize, like even when you're in prayer, God knows our thoughts. He knows what we struggle with. But I always feel like it's just also best to vocalize it. Like, to me, it just gives you a little bit more sense of vulnerability, a sense of more like, hey, God, I'm struggling today. And somehow, some way, all the time, like I always feel that burst of support just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I also would like to have the physical people, like in terms of support, in terms of a tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, God is here. He's real. I get his support. But sometimes, a lot for me is like, having a connection with a human, with a person we bounce ideas off of, that matters as well, especially on this journey. So sometimes it gets lonely out here, but I don't allow it to discourage me because of the process, things that you've been, enduring or going through for X amount of time. it's going to probably take at least not even, the more time or the double time just to kind of correct those things. And so for someone who is a former introvert or a former anti-socialist, I'm just kind of shifting and, leaning into that part to where it's like, I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want that to be my story.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and say, hey, I did the best I can, but you really didn't, So I want to get those off my list and face my fears and just move ahead, because I know there's beauty on the other side, and that's what I want. I want my blessings.
Yes, listen, that's so awesome. And I think we sharing a little bit of things, because I was, I talk to Holy Spirit all the time. And so, I love what you said, and you are actually living what you said as far as like the speaking engagement. That's what we made Black Woman Made Whole. And it was amazing to see you, talk about, I was writing notes, girl. I was writing notes, writing down the different things, figuring out where you are and how to raise up your level. I was taking all the notes. And I loved it because, like you said, that was your first time, just speaking and getting comfortable in that arena, because that's something that you said you wanted to do. And so I was like, that's great. And it's great to put that goal out there and to walk through it. But even as you're talking, this was one of the things that I was talking to God about as I drove home, because I was saying the same thing about the tribe, having that reciprocity, saying like, I know I give. I've always been that type of person. But then there's been, some that on the journey with me haven't been able to go the long haul. But you want that rest, because it does get lonely when you're out here, making sure you're doing the business, you're checking off all the boxes, you're making sure family is good, you're good, business are good, and everything else. And so you just have to continue to move forward. And we know, God said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. But that was even in my childhood years. I was like, I know he's with me. But there was that physical presence of that person, that cheerleader, that friend, like that person you can bounce things off of. And so I pray for both of our lives. It will happen. It will come.
It's happening right now in real time.
Yes, listen, because I feel like, I feel where you are. Like I said, most of the things that you're saying, it's like I've had this conversation today as I was preparing, for us to, come on here, not even knowing, what we were going to be talking about. But that was one of the things of just, making sure we put out there what we want. We speak those things that are not as if they are so. And so we put out there in the atmosphere what we want. And then God will start to draw those things to you. And so that's great. We're going to continue to move forward. I'm happy and excited about your achievements, because those are big or small. I always tell people I celebrate the little things and I celebrate the big things, because you got to celebrate yourself. You have to.
Yes, I agree. When you're celebrating yourself, you're also showing gratitude. Even for the small things or what's considered small. Like my speaking engagement, being able to do that may be small to someone else, but it's huge to me. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yes.
I did that. And can't nobody take that away. It's big for me. So I totally, for sure.
Get it. Yeah. And you, like you said, you looked amazing. You did amazing. And so we really enjoyed, you as a speaker. So you're on your way. You're on your way.
Much. I appreciate
it. You're welcome. So like we said, Planting Positive Seeds is a place where we share with others our triumphs. We share with others, how we overcame obstacles, because we know we have some that are standing in that same place where we stood. Mm-hmm. And so at this part in the podcast, I usually ask, what give us a time or share a time with us where you had to overcome an obstacle so that we can, help the others learn how to maneuver through, their way.
Well, you may not be able to resonate with this. I know there's other people that are probably out there that may or may not be able to resonate with this, but if this makes any sense, for a long time, I did not see myself as beautiful at all. Like I would go home. This is even when I was right. I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Let's get to that inner child, that childhood. Let's have type of moments, if you don't mind.
I'm all with it. Listen, I visit my inner child most of the time and talk about her.
So for a long time, I did not see myself as beautiful. I didn't really like what I was looking back at in the mirror. I would go home and pretend that I was beautiful in the mirror, but then I would go back to school and, trying to, I guess what you can call it, go with the flow of things.
Yeah.
Years and, kind of turned into or transformed into destructive energy ultimately, because I wasn't showing up myself. And I kind of knew I was different in that moment of time because I felt uncomfortable while I was doing it. But I'm like, this is my survival. This is how I'm surviving and figuring this out. But yeah, that was a huge obstacle for me. But that overcoming that obstacle was literally within my adult years.
Okay.
So that behavior spilled over into my adulthood. And of course, I didn't think anything was really wrong with me at the time in terms of the behavior. It's like, no, I'm reacting. You did this, this is how I react. And, I just kind of had to learn along the way, like, that's not, it may be okay. You may tell yourself that that's okay. Well, they did this first and I'm reacting or responding to what they did. But I learned, and I'm learning that there's so much power in silence. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, even in an argument, like, I'm just, things that I'm doing when that happens and when that comes to me, I would never imagine doing several years ago. It's just, I get real quiet. And it's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm just quiet and I'm to myself right now, because if I respond and if I engage in this and the way that you want me to engage in this, nothing's good is going to come out of it. It's unproductive, what are we doing? Right? And so I choose not to do that. I choose to let me stay here in my peace bubble. And when I see, okay, things have simmered down, then I'll talk to you, but it's for my peace. And this is how I set boundaries. And I've also learned that people are not going to like that along the way. And that's okay. That's fine. Because they are accustomed to someone who don't have boundaries, And so that's what restructuring my life looks like. And so overcoming that obstacle is really started off with just realizing that it was an obstacle altogether, and how it was spilling into my marriage, spilling into my relationships, spilling over into my friendships. And so I got tired of that, and so that, I would say, is one of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest obstacles, is just really realizing it and trying to figure out how to overcome it, trying to figure out, how do I navigate these feelings that I'm feeling on the inside, these triggers. How do I navigate these? Because this is old information that my body has. This is old information. I have new information, but I also have old information, and it's not working. It's like it's two different languages going on here on the inside. And so it's like, how do I navigate that? How do I translate those feelings? You know what I mean? In terms of language, just put it there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I get it. I get it.
Okay. So, I would say that would have to be one of my biggest obstacles, is just try. And when I tell you every day, I'm not saying I'm over here perfect now. That, no, that is not what I'm saying.
Work in progress.
That is not what I'm saying. So I still give disclaimers. I am growing. I am growing. I am learning. I am on this journey, and it's peace here, and that's what I want to be. I want my kids to be proud of me. I want my kids to look back and like, you know what, Mama worked so hard. Mama was always working. She always showed up for us. Like, when she, like we were talking about earlier about apologizing to our kids. Like, I do that. Someone was like, did you just apologize to your kid? I'm like, yeah, I was wrong. I accused them of doing something that they didn't do. So I'm going to apologize for that, because the world had enough. We'll leave that to them out there. But what we need to do here is learn how to do things differently. When you're wrong, you apologize. And that, to me, teaches my kids, hey, to your siblings and to people outside the home, when you're wrong, to apologize. So it starts from here, from me. Yeah. So that is my goal. And every day is not the same. Every day is different. But at the end of the day, I strive to put my best foot forward, and I will always do that in anything I do.
Listen, I thank you, Tami, for sharing that with us. I know sometimes, going back into, those memories, can be a little hard to, speak about. But I thank you for sharing that with you, because like you said, you're growing. I feel like I'm a work in progress, because some of the things for me spilled over, into my life. I feel like I'm just getting over some things that plagued me when I was, a teenager. And I get it, I understand it, but we're still working on it. We're overcoming, these obstacles by sharing our stories, by, like you said, self-awareness, recognizing you have to be, you look at yourself in the mirror. And I say that I have a book that's called Mirror Conversations, but I'm not looking at my face. I'm looking internally at, at me, who I am, and what made me the way that I am, and the way that I interact. And so I thank you for sharing that. And I love how you said old information. That's so true. Because, like our minds, and I just was saying this to the students, I was like, I pray that, and I heard this came from this evangelist. She was saying this to us one time about emptying out the file cabinets of our mind with all of the old information, the past things, the past hurts, disappointments, or whatever you have in there that pops up, like you said, that old information. And I for the Lord to just wash, my mind of that. So like, when you do get in, similar situations, you won't have that old information come back, and you're, doing something that in a way that you used to. You need the new information. And so I like that, because like you said, when you become still and when you quiet yourself down, your triggers, what not to do, what to do. And so that's great to helping you to overcome those obstacles. I just love the way that you are, explaining everything on this podcast, Tami. See, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. I just speak my truth, and sometimes it's difficult, like you say, to go into that place, those places that are so intimate that we tuck away for no one could get in, and all of this stuff that we do as humans. But sometimes we do have to go there, and I want to get accustomed to going there so that it's not uncomfortable, because it's a part of me. Inner child is a part of me. She's never going to go anywhere. So I embrace her. And so sometimes that will be difficult and uncomfortable to do, but guess what? It's okay to do it. That doesn't mean something's wrong with you. Have these us out there that goes against our real, true healing, that goes against actually figuring out who we really are, leaning in, just listening, being tapped in. People, would be like, your inner child, like, what's wrong with you, girl? You're crazy. No, baby.
Yeah.
No. Everybody has one.
Right.
No.
Okay. You may not just want to go there, but everybody has one. And listen, when we were talking about that, I have a book that's called Everything God, because God really worked on me. When I was after 14, and I just want to tell you, because this will be your first time hearing it, but after I attempted to commit suicide, the Lord said to me, this is not the end of your life. He said, but as I heal you, the words that you write for me will help to heal others. And so all of these words that I've been writing have been taking me on a healing journey, but also for the people that will read them. And so I also have a book called Things I Wish I Knew. And I wrote to my 14-year-old self, the one who actually attempted. I wrote a letter to her now, and then the rest of the letters in that book are like intimate letters to the young girls, young women, young adults, and even some adults that haven't went back to those places and embraced their inner child. And so I get that, and I understand how vulnerable you have to be, and then how courageous and brave you have to be to want to see something different, to feel something different, and to put yourself in a healthier space. And so I often, do that. I tell these stories, and I just now changed it around to be able to say 26-year survivor, because I always used to say just when I was 14, but I want people to know the longevity of the journey, that this has been the journey that I've been on because I've overcame it. And so I thank you for just that great outlook on, that old information and tapping into your inner healing and inner self.
For sure.
So this is like amazing. I'm having such a great time, talking with you. And so now I want you to talk about any fun things that you do outside of business. I know you say you have your children. What are some fun things that you do for self-care? Just to shine a little light on yourself.
Outside the business, so, I'll take the kids to the park when we have the energy to do so. Okay. Now,
right.
I hit the park every day. No. When she has the energy to do so, we at the park. Okay. I love doing that. I just looking at my kids and watching them grow, and they're so funny to me. Like, they'll come with these different TikToks and stuff. I'm just be looking like, where do y'all get this stuff from? Like, it's like my daughter, especially my youngest one, she'd be like, Mommy, guess what I can do? And then she'll go and do something crazy and wild. So that's fun for me, just observing them. And it always have me reflect back on when I was their age, and challenges and things of that nature. So it's like, my goal is to, again, always just try to do something different and show them a different way of life, as opposed to, what I'm accustomed to. What I like to do self-care. I love a good bubble bath using my Imaging shower bath gel. I love a good bubble bath. A good wine with my put on my meditation music, or sometimes I'll just kind of relax, unwind, and watch some entertainment videos, or I'll watch some motivational videos. Another thing that I like to do that's fun. Well, you say outside of business, okay. Let's see what else. I love to travel.
Okay.
I'll be going to Aruba this year, so it'll be kind of like a far away trip. So I'm excited about that. But that's pretty much. Oh, and I'm a foodie. I'm a real big foodie. That's care to me. That's self-care.
Yes. Listen, those are all great. I, love that. We got to have something that we do for ourselves, and, enjoying our kids at the same time, because we, like you said, watching them grow. And so, but thank you for sharing that with everybody. Somebody may have gotten some tips or some things that they want to do to help them on their journey of stepping outside of the business to relax. So I thank you all for sharing. I want to ask you now, we're coming up to the end of the interview, which has been amazing, but I want you to share or discuss with us any upcoming projects, or, just tell us more, like you were telling us earlier, about where we can find your products, and you can give like your website or different things so that the listeners can go and check out your products.
Yes, absolutely. So, I'm actually excited. So this weekend, in 2 days, I'll be traveling to Baton Rouge, my hometown, and I'll be doing an in-person speaking engagement.
Awesome.
And I know, right? That is just so huge. I'm like, first in person, like, okay, this is it.
This is it. I'm proud of you.
Do it, right? You said you wanted to do it, so you got to go ahead. You got to go to the finish line, and you got to keep planning for the next one. And so I'm excited about that. And basically, with the segment, what the speech is going to be is releasing those old dating patterns that lead to dead-end relationships. And again, that goes to going internally as well, and just doing some, self-reflection as well. But my segment of the speaking engagement. Hold on, let me do that again. Let me roll that back. So my part of the speaking would to be how to channel those emotions into business, how to basically convert those emotions into your business. That way you can kind of, tap into that personal development, doing that first, and of course allowing it in your business. And I just believe in order for me to show up in my business, I need to show up in my personal life as well first, number one. And so much what my part of the segment is going to be about. It is this Saturday, I want to say from 11 to 2 at Chateau Lao. It's a venue. It's off of Greenwell Springs Road. So Chateau Lao, that's where we're going to be at from 11 to 2. And there is a link in my bio for them to register. Now, I don't know where you're going to put it, but there is a link in my bio for them to register. You can also bring a +1. And so it's gonna just be good food, good lab, good information, and just having a good time and just trying to figure out where can we. My goal is, and what I want to do as an entrepreneur, I would love to see. Now, I'm not saying everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur, but we all have talents and we all have our gifts that God has blessed us with. So I like to see people tapping into what it is that their purpose of life, and so that's my goal.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of you because, like you said, you set that goal in 2022 to speak more, and you're doing that on the podcast. Now you have your first in person, and so I know you're gonna just go forth and bless the people because you're living your dream, and so one day at a time you're living it. So Tami, if there's any final thoughts that you just want to share with everyone before we go, here's your chance and your opportunity.
My final thoughts is, final thoughts. That could be so. My thoughts are really not final thoughts. They really like long thoughts. So let me see how I can sum up final thoughts. I mean, I think it would just be, again, to encourage people to just, take that first step, push past that certain fears and things of that nature so they could get to their abundance. It's only blessings and abundance on the other side. To take heed to different signs and when God is speaking to us, because, again, there's something on the other side of that. And I know that sometimes it's hard, because we don't know what that something is, but he's not going to lead you wrong, Right. And just trust that, and have faith, keep the faith, and just push forward and show up how you show up. If you can't show up, hey, I'm not showing up how y'all normally used to seeing me show up. I'm not here today. I'm struggling today. So just give me a minute. And, that's pretty much what it is. Just be your true, authentic self. And then you can.
Right. And I thank you for that. I thank you for sharing it. So, all of the listeners can understand that, in this journey, they have to be real with how you feel, not stuffing it down, not suppressing it, but being and real within yourself to say, this is how I feel, and showing up, like in the way that God created you to be. That's big for me. And so I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast on Inspirational Talk. I know I have enjoyed, talking with you and chatting with you. And so to everyone that's out there listening, thank you so much for listening all over the world. Be sure to come back and visit us every Monday at 6:30 Central and 7:30 Eastern. And to all of you out there in other countries, we appreciate you for taking the time to listen to us. Stop back by to see us, and God bless everyone. Have a good one.
Thank you, dear.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.